Can we talk about it now? Is it okay? Is it safe, you think, to talk about it? Can we talk about it? What are you talking about, Alex? What on earth could you possibly be talking about? Well, one of the most important things that have ever happened in my life, only the thing that got me involved in politics in the first place. What I witnessed, and I don't care what anybody says, I know what happened.
So years after we were suing courts over and over again to get these images from these voting machines, and we were finally able to see look for any anomalies. Look at this huge spike that we found at the same moment that they started shoving those ballots through those machines.
Well, when y'all went to sleep, Trump was winning. I didn't sleep. I was excited. I stayed up and I saw this happen in real time.
Ruby Freeman, as seen here in this video, repeatedly scanned the same batch of ballots at least 3 times, which is highly illegal, and it's all captured on tape.
Oh, so fast forward. Check this out. If this doesn't show you.
Inspired by the voting rights legacy of her beloved Atlanta, Lady Ruby Freeman viewed her civic duty as a Fulton County election worker as a sacred mission to ensure the people of Georgia could exercise their fundamental right to vote freely and fairly. In the 2020 election, she upheld that sacred mission despite an orchestrated campaign to overturn the election and that targeted and threatened her and her family. To the nation, she bore witness of the trauma and tragedy of that experience.
Trauma and tragedy. The country was traumatized. And then we had to watch her and her daughter sue Rudy Giuliani and take all his possessions. We had to watch that. Those are evil people right there, dude. And they need to give Rudy everything back that they took from him. And then some.
Oh, so what's going on with this third tanker that we were supposedly pursuing? Okay, so we pursued it into the Atlantic Ocean. Now apparently it's hanging out off the coast of the Bahamas, trying to figure out what to do. It was coming into Venezuela empty. So, there wasn't any sanctioned oil. It wasn't leaving or anything. It was coming in. And so they said, no, you can't come in. It turned around and we pursued it out to a certain amount. And then we just let it go. But it's loitering. It has nowhere to go. Its home base is Venezuela. And I think that's why we kind of backed off of it, let it make a decision. What do you want to surrender? Do you need whatever? There's nothing on you that's sanctioned, but you can't come. You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here. You know what I mean? Or like who was it? The little boy on the bus in Forrest Gump. Can't sit here. Remember those border buoys they put in the Rio Grande Valley whenever the border was wide open? And they're designed to, whenever you try to crawl over them, they just roll. I mean, wow. That would suck. That would suck to be stuck there trying to roll on top of these things, man. Yeah, you can't fight them, And then, sure enough, the Biden administration came out and tried to say that because of those buoys, that some people drown. Well, come to find out, that was not true. Some people drowned further down the border because there were so many people coming over. Of course, Biden didn't have near the agents that were supposed to be there to actually facilitate this whole invasion. And it's really disappointing about this whole thing. The Catholic Church, man, they were the main ones who were getting most of the money from the government to facilitate all this, What's up with that? These Catholics aren't really Catholics, There's a lot of people like that, The Muslims always criticize the Christians for that. Like the Tate brothers, I forget which one. There's one that's Christian or Catholic and one that's Muslim. I know I should know his name, but it's split my mind right now. But he says it's because, Christians didn't take it serious enough. You don't see them. But Tate, you're a hypocrite, because if you were to take the Quran verbatim, like Christians try to do with the Bible, you'd be a murderer. You couldn't survive in our society today. So really, you're a soft Muslim. If you really want to, if that's your whole reasoning for believing in a God that doesn't, I'm sure that God exists, but it ain't the right one. You ain't worshiping the right one, brother. And that's the reason? For somebody so smart, that's pretty stupid. So the border buoys are coming back, baby. Fusion tech. This is a very interesting topic that it takes a lot to get into. There's a lot to it. Okay, So I'm going to try to break this down as easy as possible. Quantum physics, quantum mechanics. If you know anything about the double slit project or double slit test, everything is a wave until it's observed, and then it measured, observed, and then it becomes a particle. Anyway, and so that gives proof that there has to be an omnipresent observer at all times, everywhere, or nothing could exist. That's the fundamental reality that we're faced with right now with our physics. But there's a whole nother thing going on too, where I'm sure you saw that interview where Donald Trump said, we have weapons that people don't even understand. And then the head of his technology department came out and said that we have left time and distance annihilated. We have the ability to manipulate space-time. We do. All these UFOs that people are trying to say is from aliens. No, guys, those are ours. That's our technology. That's the United States' technology, but we don't want to share it, which I kind of understand. You know what I mean? I understand. I don't trust the deep state with it, but I definitely trust the American people with it. And what it could do to the world is fundamentally, it could go good or bad. You know, it could go either way, and I understand them trying to develop it more to maybe implement it better. You know, but it's been long enough, guys. We're coming on a century now, dude. Figure it out already. And if y'all don't know, you got to kind of know what's going on with technology to understand what I'm talking about. But if you're watching my channel, then you know what I'm talking about. With like Flight MH370 and Ashton Forbes, and I love that guy, dude. Like, I'm learning right there along with him, and it's so cool to understand this stuff. If y'all know what I'm talking about, our physics has the ability. We all know what a black hole is. A black hole is a wormhole. I don't know if it's the same thing, but I know that we can create wormholes to travel from one distance to another. That's why this spook of Einstein's relativity, it comes into play here, where you can have two things in two different places at the same time. That's just dimensionality, you know, a physical object being in two places at the same time. Will we use the word places or just replace that with dimensions, which, I believe in because I believe the Bible. And the Bible has talked about this since the very beginning, you know, and they're starting to say that our reality is like a hologram off of a bigger reality, where that's absolutely what the Bible says. The Bible says nothing happens on earth until it happens in heaven first. And we believe that we are surrounded by beings that influence this world. If you look in the Bible, for example, in, the 21-day fast, when Daniel was fasting, and 21 days later, an angel got to him, I think it was Gabriel, and said, I had to come against the Prince of Persia, capital P, Prince of Persia. Because in the spirit world, I think kings are lesser than princes. Princes over nations, at least at the translation at this time, are very powerful. Principalities are rulers over certain jurisdictions, like you could look at it like that, like geographical, territorial areas. And he said, the Prince of Persia, I came against the Prince of Persia to get the answer to your prayer to you. I had to battle him. Matter of fact, I had to call Michael to come help me with him so that I could get this prayer to you. The Lord answered your prayer on the first day, but it took me 21 days, and thank God he didn't stop fasting. Imagine that, right? When God tells you to do something, and it's over tomorrow, and you're like, oh, what can it hurt? What? You better push it out, man, because he would have never made it to him if he had stopped fasting. Because he pushed, he kept, and then he said, and I got to go fight him on the way back. And not only that, he said also the Prince of Greece came. So this gives you a little peek into the spirit world. I mean, we're getting a glance behind the curtain here. This is what's happening, dude. You know what I mean? It's a constant battle. That's why I have a hard time believing in other beings on other planets. Now, I'm open-minded to something here, because there is something here that's not all human. Definitely. And has been before. But as far as other planets, man, God would have mentioned it. He would have said something, dude. You know, it doesn't sit right with my spirit. And I remember when I was trying to put this together, I like Timothy Alberino. I got really big into his channel and stuff. I understand where he's coming from. Like, there's got to be. But there is, Timothy. But I don't think it's flesh and blood and art like us at all. We know there's other beings, but the earth is super special. You know that. In Revelation, it doesn't say anything about other planets. It says whenever they go to and fro, back and forth on the surface of the earth, then the end will come or whatever. So and all these people that are trying to argue that Israel is not important, they were only important in the Old Testament and blah, blah. No, guys. Whenever the apocalypse comes, whenever it's the end of the world, you know what sets that off? You know how there's always something to set it off, right? You F around, you find out. Well, who's gonna F around when the apocalypse comes? Guess what triggers that? The whole world gangs up on Israel and Jerusalem. The whole world starts to surround Jerusalem. Bam, that's when God comes back. You can't tell me Israel's not still important. Okay, our military boys all got their $1,776 holiday bonus. In case you live under a rock, President Trump sent out a 1776, the year our Constitution was signed, for all our service members, thanks to the tariffs. You can't argue against that. There's plenty of us that want him to take the tariff money and just pay our debt, please, okay? Nobody's going to argue with him giving our military service members a little extra bonus, especially when they got to deal with these Democrats doubting their ability to know that we are blowing up narco-terrorists, not fishermen. Democrats are retarded, man. They're insulting, like, everybody when they try to say that Trump is blowing up fishermen. So, guys, I'm going to make another episode explaining to you why I think the angle that they're going to use to try and get President Trump to run a third term. President Trump doesn't want to step on any toes. I know, you know, he knows that he would be better for this country than whoever is coming next. We know that. But he doesn't want to cause any more angst that, you know what I mean? You and me, we know how Trump is, okay? If somebody doesn't understand that that's watching this channel, then you need to do some more homework, okay? There's like me, I would love it. There's millions of people that want Trump to do another term because of what happened on his first term. He got cheated out of his first term. He got cheated out of his second election. And we're going to be able to prove those things. I think that is the vehicle they're going to use to justify him serving another term. He got cheated, dude. I know we could say in hindsight, yay, I'm glad that they stole that election because now he come back fire fierce. But if you think about it, if they didn't steal that election, we wouldn't have this invasion. We wouldn't be $37 trillion in debt, guys. I mean, man, not only did they steal the election, but we didn't even know who the president was. We had some nut jobs running our country. So it's insane. And, that is the biggest scandal. Imagine that. They stole the election from the American people and then put a puppet president in charge that wasn't really running anything. And it was like this group of elites. The nightmare, our worst nightmare came true, guys. The elite deep state had all the power. They stole it, and then they had the auto pen power. That is what the hell we just went through. Talk about a scandal, man. And this is after they tried to take Trump out. Thank God that we got praying Americans, man. My God. All the proof of this is going to come out, man. What the hell do you think the country's going to say when everybody's like, hey, guys, y'all think we should give Trump another term? What are they going to say? I mean, that's the only thing that could justify it if you ask me, But I'm going to have more on that in another video.